You're just in time for another eBay unboxing, which we'll do in fast motion. But before that, I have the app. And yes, I'm going to probably speed this up 1.5 times because I talk too much and I never shut up. And so, like, with all the crap going on in the Middle East, we're about to have World War III. Let's smell the flower. Smell. Smell it. That's a echinacea. Black-eyed Susan. Russian sage. Okay, let's get going. Oh, by the way, Chatty Cathy in the house. All right, so this package took a hiatus. And the person in here is a person that helps you find lost objects. Can you guess who it is? Well, this thing went from Georgia. Now, it's supposed to go to New York, to me. It went from Georgia all the way down to Florida, all the way across to Texas, all the way back up towards Chicago, and then took a beeline back down to New York. And I called the Postal Service because I thought this thing was lost. And a certain person inside this box made it so that this object wasn't lost. Oh, okay. All right. So these generally come up on the market every so often, and I can't afford them. They generally sell for way too much money, and I really can't afford these. And you're like, it's just a vintage rosary. Well, it's not just any vintage rosary. So this is what's known as a relic rosary. And these rosaries were generally very popular during the 1800s, actually even before that. But mostly, you'll find the ones on the market, they'll be early 20th century to about the 1950s or so. This is, I don't know if you can see this here, but this is quite cool. This is called Spina Christi. And it actually is a seed. These are all seeds. And believe it or not, like I thought about once trying to find one of these Spina Christi crucifixes and rosaries and trying to plant this, actually, the seed, let's check it out, and soak them and see what would happen. Now, the Spina Christi is basically the crown of thorns bush that they placed on Jesus's head during the crucifixion. And crucifixion, don't know which is the correct term, but I'm probably sounding like a chipmunk right now because this is at 1.5 times speed, and because I talk too much, and people have TikTok attention span. So this was probably made anywhere between, I'm trying to guesstimate. Some of them will have the words Roma on the back. The most common ones you'll find will say Roma. Those are generally from the 50s, 40s, 50s. But this one appears to be older. And it's a reliquary crucifix. And that is quite cool because 9 times out of 10 when you find these on the market, they will be missing the relics. I don't know why, but what I think, my speculation, is what happens is that people unscrew these and take the relics out one by one. Sometimes some of these can hold up to like 12, the bigger ones, like ones like about this big, will hold about 12 saints in there, the relics of 12 saints. I've seen some that held 10. I've seen some that held 8. Some that held, it varies, is what I'm trying to say. And some reason, or another reason, a lot of times you'll find the catacomb, the dirt from the catacombs in here, the Roman catacombs, but for the most part, missing, always missing. And what I'm speculating is that people probably take the relics out of here and put them in what's called a theca, which is a round little holder with a glass window, and then they resell them. I think they glue them into other ones and take them and separate them, and it's really a darn shame. Now, the ones that you'll find that have the catacomb dirt in it generally will be empty. I will generally always find these, and they will just be sold, and they will be completely empty inside. So I'm unscrewing this right now, and we're going to check out who we have inside here. And I gave you a hint earlier. You don't have to be a devout Catholic or a devout Catholic to know who I was referring to. But generally, if I can get this open, always on camera, I'm nervous. Why can't I get this open? What is going on here? Open, sesame. Kalamazoo, Kalikazoo, I'll be back. Okay, so we had a technical difficulty. Can we get a focus? Hello, focus. Okay, I had a technical difficulty. It's because the hinge is so old that it's hard. It's just hard to pull open. Generally, these are really easy to pull open, boys and girls. All right, so I'm going to try to open this as wide as I can so you guys can see this. Don't know if you can see this. And we have, let's see, right here. Let's get in there. Let's get in there. Good. On the left, we have St. Anthony. Right here, it says Agnes. And that generally means Agnes Dei, which would be the Lamb of God, which would be actually a candle that they have in there. And then on the bottom, we have in German, and this is really cool. We're going to actually do some research and find out where these came from. And it looks like, let me stop shaking. Oh my God, it's like I have Parkinson's disorder. I have anxiety, so that's why my hands shake like this. And I need to take my benzodiazepine soon, and so my hands shake when I don't take them. And there we go. Oh, it looks like Francis D or whatever, but it's German. You see the lettering is like old German? That's St. Francis. So we have St. Francis, we have St. Anthony, and we have at Agnes Dei, which would probably be right under this paper. The relics will be right under this paper. Let's try to, can we even zoom in on there? It's very hard to tell whether or not these are going to be first, second, or third class relics. A lot of times, even these things could have third class relics in them, but generally they'll sell for sky high, which I'll show you in a moment. Now, I got really lucky. I got this piece for 30 bucks, and it's not easy to find these for 30 bucks. Generally, by the way, look at the medallion. Generally, most people will sell these for hundreds of dollars, which is absolutely insane. And let's take a look. Who is this? I can't even see. It looks like Jesus. I'll get a loop in a minute and read to you what that says. And on the back, we have the miraculous medal of Mary, I believe. Why is my camera completely not focusing? I'm going to have to switch over. Hold on a minute. Okay, I tried to change the resolution on my camera. Just don't get yourself a Samsung S20. Well, it's an S22. It's an older phone. Even the newer ones, the cameras are terrible on it. So it looks like it's the Sacred Heart of Jesus on one side, right there. And on the opposite side, I thought it was at first the miraculous medal, but it appears to be, I don't know if you can see this. I think it is Our Lady of Perpetual Help or something like that. It's in another language, so I can't understand what it says. I think it's actually in Latin, and it looks like Mary with the baby Jesus. I don't know what this signifies. I will have to Google it. Don't we all have to Google things sometimes? I'm not an expert. I make these videos, and what I learn is what I teach you guys. So I'm not always an absolute expert on every single thing. And so you may be saying, I know exactly what that is. And you're going to want to write it in the comments below. Yeah, go ahead. I was going to say, yeah, no, I was not saying to destroy yourself or delete yourself. I meant to say, knock yourself out. That's it. All right. So what do we have here? We have this old crucifix. Now, what I found in my research is these were generally made actually in convents. So a lot of the nuns, this is like monastery work. A lot of, wait, I'm trying to move this stuff just so you guys can see a better vision of it. Hold on. Basically, hold on, I'm going to lift up my camera a moment. Yep, okay, I am posing it for you guys. All right, so what I found is most of this is nun work. And what nuns would do was, well, they still do it today, is try to earn money for the actual church and for beneficial reasons and charity purposes. And so in the monasteries and in the convents, the brothers and the sisters and the nuns, they do handiwork. Some of them do knitting, crocheting, and they do all sorts of things to earn money. So a pilgrim we go to a certain church and buy handmade stuff from them. Or this was sometimes given to priests or nuns to actually use in devotionals. And so I did my research and I found out this is certainly German. Let's go ahead and do our research right now and read up on it. Now, some of these even came with certificates that these were guaranteed to be the real relics of saints. And I believe that the certificate that came with this, one other time when it was first made was actually missing. They go missing. People lose them. Just like I think I just lost the screw. Oh, okay. You don't want to lose the screw because you'll be screwed. Okay, so let's go ahead to our cutaway and let's check out and do research on these type of reliquary or relic crucifixes. Okay, so I'm checking on the Jesus chip. Oh, I was outbid on something. Well, darn it. All right, whatever. All right, so the Jesus chip has no bids. And yeah, this guy actually wants $10,000 for the Jesus chip. And so far, it ends in 4 days. You can own your very own Jesus chip if you bid and start the bid at $250 hairs. Now, if you choose to do a buy it now, no interest if paid in full in 6 months on $99 plus with PayPal credit. No, they did not pay me to say that. And this is absolutely ludicrous. I showed you guys this before, but I've been watching the Jesus chip. And his description says, on a Lay's wavy chip, found in bag with serial number, with a cross perfectly in it. Perfect for collectors. Yeah, perfect for schmucks. Okay, so upon my, fruitless, pretty much fruitless research, I found that different companies made these crucifixes with the wood inlay. So the wood inlay, this one's a budded out one. I love the budded out ones. I collect these. And so the Germans, the French, and the Italians made these wood inlay with what they would call ebony or ebonized wood crucifixes and rosaries. And so this particular one is German, has relics built into this part. I don't know if you guys can see that. Let's try to zoom in on that. There we go. We have some relics. This is a deca, and it would be, you could pull this out of the crucifix. That is actually quite an expensive relic if you ever go to buy one of these. This one has an original tag on it, and it says, let's try to read it if we can. Oh, by the way, there's the relics. And you can see the wood. See how it is inlaid with woods. Now, there was a company by Gebruder, which means brother in German, Endres, and these were made in a place called Koblenz, Germany. And so a lot of these crucifixes were made back then. Let's read, and it says, made by Gebruder, Endres, Koblenz, Germany. And it does not have a date, but I can tell you this is probably the 1950s, is my guess. I would go with the 1950s on this one. Okay, so now that we established that these particular ones can be German, French, or Italian, a lot of them will have a marking on the back. Now, the older ones do not have a marking on the back. Mine does not have it, as far as I know. Let me go check. And yes, I'm putting the flash on for this one. You'll see a lot of these that say Roma on the back, but I don't see anything. Generally, it'll say like Germany, or it'll say France, or it'll have like a marking. Oh, I think I see a marking up here. Yes, I do. I have to get the loop out for that, boys and girls. It was so tiny that you or I, with a naked eye, would not even be able to see it. Yes, it is confirmed Germany. Now, the more I look at this, the more I think this was made in the 1930s or 1940s. I think it is earlier than the 50s. I see the face of Jesus in this rose petal. Do you see it? I'm going to list this for $10,000 on eBay. And yes, do you see Jesus's face right there? What do you think, boys and girls? Should I do that? Okay, so here's on an auction. It says fabulous rare nuns relic cross with 12 relics and Agnus Dei, which is the wax Lamb of God that I told you about in the center. This one sold for, it had an estimated price of $400 to $1,000. It sold for 400 doll hairs. And you can see, not identical to mine, but very similar. It's a relic crucifix. This one is not attached to a rosary. I don't know what happened with that. But we had this very interesting document. So these did come with documents at one time, or certificates. And so this one says, it says certificate. The relics which are inlaid in the crucifixes were given and inserted by the nuns. Cloister, I can't even read that. It's in German. Can we even see that? Sister, I don't know. Okay, of St. Joseph's Abbey at Daimau, Germany, which is near Passau, P-A-S-A-U. Delivery of the crucifixes will be effected through the trusteeship of Gebruder Endres. Aha, that's the same crossmaker we just saw with the other relics. Brother Endres, Coolhens, Germany. Very interesting. The genuineness of the relics is certified by seal and signature. And here's a bishop's name, I guess, right there. Dated April of 1964. Now, many of these had different dates. And here we go. We have a stamp of authenticity, a signature, and voila. And that one sold for 400 doll hairs. So, of course, the larger they are and the more relics they contain inside of them, the more money they're worth. And so this one is having 12 relics inside of it, and very similar to mine. We got the screw on the bottom, we got Jesus, we got the inlay on it, and this one is selling for 662 doll hairs. Let's take a look at the relics, and we'll blow it up so you guys can see. And these are very Germanic. The way they spell, a lot of these are in Roman, actually Latin, but you'll see sometimes, yeah, you'll see the 2 dots on top of the O. That's very Germanic. And there we go. Wow, pretty cool, but too expensive for my taste. And you have people all over the internet. They find these things, and then they go on like Reddit, and they ask Catholics, what the heck is this? My grandfather gave this to me for my first communion sometime in the 1970s. It was given to him by one of the priests that raised him in Germany. Aha, okay. I don't have a time frame for that other than to say his father was a bodyguard for the last Kaiser of Germany, which is Kaiser Wilhelm. My grandfather died in the 90s, so I can't ask. It has fragments of something inside of it that look like bone. And it says, I suspect this may have been made in the late 1800s or early 1900s. And the truth is, these aren't as old as we think. This one, again, is a 20th century one. And people wrote, the crucifix contains relics of the saints. A treasure, indeed. I believe either first or second class relics. And then someone wrote, many of them contain third class relics. Example, an item that has been touched by a first class relic of the saint. Boo! I want a first class and a second class, not a third class. And then someone wrote, any way to make $1. And people gave a minus 86. The church forbids that buying and the church forbids the buying and selling of relics. Well, it's not stopping me. It's not stopping all these other people. And it wrote, not for the relic itself. So someone's explaining to this jackass over here, the church forbids the buying, which is true, actually. This person's not wrong. They do forbid it. You're not supposed to buy it. But it says not for the relic itself. It just so happens that the paperwork required to facilitate stuff like this costs money, usually. It's payment for making sure that the papers and showing provenance are in order and for the transferring significant relics from one location to another. Well, it's 18 karat PLN for a hair. Oh, 18,000. I don't know what PLN stands for. It's probably another currency. For a hair of John Paul II. And if you get connections, you can buy some of his blood. It's amazing how Cardinal... Yeah, not going to even attempt that. Got the idea to pump the Pope's blood before his death. Yikes. Ouch. That's a rightly deserved ratioing, if I ever seen one. And someone wrote, I have seen one that is first-class relics. And someone wrote, a reliquary, truly a treasure. Speak to your priest about it and see if it can be authenticated. If it's real, it's definitely worth keeping and treasuring. Whatever you do, do not sell it. If need be, turn it into your diocese, and if you don't want it. And it's forbidden to sell relics, classes of relics. Speak to a trusted Catholic priest so you can give it away for free. And no, that's not going to happen. Sorry. And you might think I'm a schmuck for saying that, but the usual way around it, there's always a way, is for the seller to say you're buying the container, not the relic. Hence, those little prayer cards containing a third-class relic will state that you're paying for the card, and the little piece of cloth sealed within it is merely a bonus. Obviously, this is much more of a problem when it comes to first and second-class relics, which have, unfortunately, a financial value of their own. Yes, we know that. And thus, this reply, God looks down and says, damn it, darn it, they got me with a loophole again. And here we go with the best comment of all. This is a reliquary crucifix, an extraordinary gift. The slips of paper indicate the relic's origin. Those sacred reliquaries often hold first or second class relics. I can say that the one labeled Agnes is most likely an Agnus Dei sacramental. Wax form from the blessed Easter candle was often pressed into a personal reliquary with the image of the Lamb of God, Agnus Dei. You will find these often in the heart-shaped locket-type reliquary with the image of the Lamb of God on the outside and wax from the blessed Easter candle inside. Likewise, many nuns made special embroidered pouches in which they carried the Agnus Dei with them, sometimes with other relics. A priest can help you identify the relics based upon the names of the slips of paper. If they're first or second class relics, they will have a red wax and string seal on the back as proof. Well, I'm not pulling anything out of that to check. Relics or relic class aside, this is a most precious heirloom reliquary and more a blessed sacramental gift from your beloved grandfather. Never let it go. I've only seen reliquary crucifixes of this quality in serious collections of relics and reliquaries. Someone wrote, it's a reliquary. Each of the little notes has the name of a saint, and beneath those pieces of paper are first-class relics. Example, pieces of bone or teeth or hair from the saint's actual body. And someone says, I was working in my church and found a crucifix like this, but with only one relic. My priest put it in the parish museum and brings it out only on Good Friday for veneration. Wow, these things are really precious. Now, I suspect that the crucifix I have is a Franciscan crucifix. Why? Because St. Anthony was a Franciscan, and so was St. Francis. Well, and then it says, I wonder if the priest that raised your grandfather was an oblate of St. Francis de Sales. I know several that wear this as part of their habit. So I'm assuming that mine's a Franciscan rosary reliquary crucifix. And here we go on to find a superb old relic cross with 7 relics encased, sold for 1,350 doll hairs. And it's a little teeny tiny little budded shaped crucifix. Actually, I'll show you. The budded is like, you've got the trefoil on the edges. It doesn't make it worth any more than the square shaped ones. But this one was on a cord and must have hung from a nun's neck or maybe a priest's neck. And this did actually have a certificate. So these came with certificates, boys and girls. This one is dated. I'm trying to find it. I don't see it actually. Let's try to see if there's any more photos so we can zoom in on this. But I'm trying to get a date. Oh, 1960 something, I believe it says. Okay, and here we found a very similar crucifix to mine on actually Pinterest. And it says made in Germany, purchased at the Monastery of the Precious Blood in Portland on December 5th, 1952. Certificate. The relics, which are inlaid in the crucifix, were given, were given and inserted by the nuns of St. Joseph's Abbey at Dinau. Is that correct? Dinau? That's Germany. Delivery of the crucifixes will be effect through the trusteeship of Gerbruder Endres, Koblenz, Germany. I can't pronounce this. Dinau? 20 December 1951, near Passau, Bavaria, Germany. Signature, Sister M. Beatrice Oh, sister, I guess cistern nun, sister nuns or something. I don't know, but wow. Okay, so now we're getting closer. Now this is answering what we have here. We have a Bavarian German relic crucifix that actually was made by Grabruder or brother. What was it? Brother and Endres in Koblenz, Germany. These were actually put together by nuns, and these are real. These are actually real relics. And I found the actual monastery right here, and this is what it looks like. Wow, it's actually quite beautiful. And here it's another website, Pro Cathedral of St. Mary, Saints in our Reliquary Cross, gifted to St. Mary's by Father Charles Height. Certificate. Here we go. We got a certificate. This one's dated 1953. Okay, so we're really getting a date on ours. I'm going to say the 50s. Okay, I went down. I thought maybe the 30s or 40s, but we're going to go with the 50s. The relics which are inlaid in these crucifixes were given and inserted by the nuns, sisters, yeah, I can't pronounce that, of St. Joseph's Abbey at Thurnau. Delivery of the crucifixes will be effected through the trusteeship of Gebruder Endres, Koblenz, Germany. It says the genuineness of the relics is certified by the seal and signature. Beinriss, 10/20, October 20, 1953, near Passau, Bavaria. Very, very interesting. And this one has a lot, look at that, has a lot of relics in it. I don't know how many are in this one, but this one, these are way more valuable than the one I have. Really quite cool. Look at that. Do you see this, boys and girls? Some nuns were very good at what's called quill work. And this is paper that's curled to make these beautiful curly cues. And there we go, Agnus Dei, that's the wax candle. And we got a multitude of saints in this. Okay, I found another one. This one sold for $400, and it does have the certificate. Okay, so these are actually new. They still make them, believe it or not, which is crazy. But these actually could be quite pricey. This one being sold for $1,477. Wow. Okay, let's check this one out. And this, yeah, holy cow. All right. And this one has a lot of relics in it. This one is actually definitely 1800s. Without a doubt, this one was definitely made in the 1800s. It's a very old one, and thus that's why the price is so high. It was $1,846 with 20% off, boys and girls. Now, one that has 5 relics in it is selling for $180. That is a good deal. I would suggest you guys to jump on that one if you find that on the internet. That is actually a really, really good deal. So 9 times out of 10, you'll find these, and they will be absolutely empty. Like empty. There'll be nothing in them, and it's absolutely a crying shame because you don't know what happened to the relics that were inside of them. I suspect that people do things with them that are actually really sort of crooked. And so what I think they do is, here's an example of my first class relics in their reliquaries. What I think they do is they get a theka, which is this little round thing. I don't know, do we have any laying around? Here, a theka. It's inside, this is a reliquary. These right here, these chalices are reliquaries. But I think what they do is they put them in these thekas, and they sell these for $500 to $1,000 each. So some of these little reliquary crucifixes, here's another one I have right here. They'll take out each relic and then put it in a theka and sell each relic for about $500 each, which is a crying shame. It's an absolute terrible thing to do. So tonight on this episode, we learned where these come from. These are nuns' work relic crucifixes. Sometimes you'll find them on a rosary. For the most part, most of them I found are not on a rosary. They're just a relic crucifix, and that's it, or a reliquary crucifix. We found out these are very expensive, and they are actually real. These are not faked. These were actually made by Gebruder Endres in Germany. We found out these are Bavarian, basically. These are Germanic. These are German. They do make these reliquary crucifixes with this inlay in Italy and France as well. They still make these to this day, and you will occasionally find one. And when you do at a thrift store, and you open up the little screw, 9 times out of 10, the relics will be gone. I'm not kidding you, or at least 1 or 2 will be gone, or there'll be damage inside of there. These were heavily devoted. Somebody really used these, especially a nun would have probably had this, or a priest, or a pilgrim, or someone very religious. So we know that this was made in a monastery. We know it was made in St. John's Abbey. Really quite cool. And we learned the history today. This most likely made in the 50s or 60s, and good enough for me. And I got this at $30. This was one of my great scores of the week. So I'll see you on the next one. Stay tuned. More things are coming.